Sayyid Ahmad Taqvi bin Sayyid Muhammad Muttaqi KCSI, commonly known as Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, also Sayyid Ahmad Khan, was an Islamic pragmatist, Islamic reformer, philosopher, and educationist in 19th-century British India. Though initially espousing Hindu-Muslim unity, he became the pioneer of Muslim nationalism in India and is widely credited as the father of two-nation theory which formed the basis of Pakistan movement. Born into a family with strong debts to the Mughal court, Ahmad studied the Quran and sciences within the court. He was awarded an honorary LL.D. from the University of Edinburgh in 1889. In 1838, Sayyid Ahmad entered the service of East India Company and went on to become a judge at a small causes court in 1867, retiring from 1876. During the Indian Rebellion of 1857, he remained loyal to the British Raj and was noted for his actions in saving European lives. After the rebellion, he penned the booklet The Causes of the Indian Mutiny, a daring critique, at the time, of various British policies that he blamed for causing the revolt. Believing that the future of Muslims was threatened by the rigidity of their orthodox outlook, Sir Ahmad began promoting Western-style scientific education by founding modern schools and journals and organizing Islamic entrepreneurs. In 1859, Syed established Gulshan School at Moradabad, Victoria School at Ghazipur in 1863, and a scientific society for Muslims in 1864. In 1875, founded the Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College, the first Muslim university in southern Asia. During his career, Syed repeatedly called upon Muslims to loyally serve the British Raj and promoted the adoption of Urdu as the lingua franca of all Indian Muslims. Syed criticized the Indian National Congress. Syed maintains a strong legacy in Pakistan and among Indian Muslims. He strongly influenced other Muslim leaders including Allama Iqbal and Muhammad Ali Jinnah. His advocacy of Islam's rationalist tradition, and a broader, radical reinterpretation of the Quran to make it compatible with science and modernity, continues to influence the global Islamic Reformation. Many universities and public buildings in Pakistan bear Sir Syed's name. Aligarh Muslim University celebrated Sir Syed's 200th birth centenary with much enthusiasm on 17 October 2017. Former President of India Pranab Mukherjee was the chief guest. Career. Having recognized the steady decline in Mughal political power, Sir Syed decided to enter the service of the East India Company. He could not enter the colonial civil service because it was only in the 1860s that Indians were admitted. His first appointment was as a Saristadar, lit. Clerk, at the Courts of Law in Agra, responsible for record-keeping and managing court affairs. In 1840, he was promoted to the title of Munshi. In 1858, he was appointed to a high-ranking post at the court in Moradabad, where he began working on his most famous literary work. Acquainted with high-ranking British officials, Sir Syed obtained close knowledge about British colonial politics during his service at the courts. At the outbreak of the Indian Rebellion, on 10 May 1857, Sir Syed was serving as the chief assessment officer at the court in Bijnor. Northern India became the scene of the most intense fighting. The conflict had left large numbers of civilians dead. Erstwhile centers of Muslim power such as Delhi, Agra, Lucknow and Kanpur were severely affected. Sir Syed was personally affected by the violence and the ending of the Mughal dynasty amongst many other long-standing kingdoms. Sir Syed and many other Muslims took this as a defeat of Muslim society. He lost several close relatives who died in the violence. Although he succeeded in rescuing his mother from the turmoil, she died in Meerut, owing to the privations she had experienced. Social reforms in the Muslim society were initiated by Abdul Latif, who founded the Mohammedan Literary Society in Bengal. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan established the Mao College, which eventually became the Aligarh Muslim University. He opposed ignorance, superstitions and evil customs prevalent in Indian Muslim society. He firmly believed that Muslim society would not progress without the acquisition of Western education and science. As time passed, Sir Syed began stressing on the idea of pragmatic modernism and started advocating for strong interfaith relations between Islam and Christianity. Causes of the Indian Revolt. Sir Syed supported the East India Company during the 1857 uprising, a role which has been criticized by some nationalists such as Jamaluddin Afghani. In 1859, Sir Syed published the booklet Asbab-e-Baghawat-e-Hind, The Causes of the Indian Revolt, in which he studied the causes of the Indian Revolt. In this, his most famous work, he rejected the common notion that the conspiracy was planned by Muslim elites, who resented the diminishing influence of Muslim monarchs. He blamed the East India Company for its aggressive expansion as well as the ignorance of British politicians regarding Indian culture. Sir Syed advised the British to appoint Muslims to assist in administration, to prevent what he called haramzadgi, a vulgar deed, such as the mutiny. When the work was finished, without waiting for an English translation, Sir Syed sent the Urdu version to be printed at the Mufassilat Gazette Press in Agra. Within a few weeks, he received 500 copies back from the printers. One of his friends warned him not to send the pamphlet to the British Parliament or to the Government of India. Rai Shankar Das, a great friend of Sir Syed, begged him to burn the books rather than put his life in danger. Sir Syed replied that he was bringing these matters to the attention of the British for the good of his own people, of his country, and of the government itself. He said that if he came to any harm while doing something that would greatly benefit the rulers and the subjects of India alike, he would gladly suffer whatever befell him. When Rai Shankar Das saw that Sir Syed's mind was made up and nothing could be done to change it, he wept and remained silent. After performing a supplementary prayer and asking God's blessing, Sir Syed sent almost all the 500 copies of his pamphlet to England, one to the government, and kept the rest himself. When the Government of India had the book translated and presented before the Council, Lord Canning, the Governor-General, and Sir Bartle Frere accepted it as a sincere and friendly report. The Foreign Secretary Cecil Beaton, however, severely attacked it, calling it an extremely seditious pamphlet. He wanted a proper inquiry into the matter and said that the author, unless he could give a satisfactory explanation, should be harshly dealt with. Since no other member of the council agreed with his opinion, his attack did no harm. Later, Sir Syed was invited to attend Lord Canning's Durbar in Farrukhabad and happened to meet the Foreign Secretary there. He told Sir Syed that he was displeased with the pamphlet and added that if he had really had the government's interests at heart, he would not have made his opinion known in this way throughout the country. He would have communicated it directly to the government. Sir Syed replied that he had only had 500 copies printed, the majority of which he had sent to England. One had been given to the Government of India, and the remaining copies were still in his possession. Furthermore, he had the receipt to prove it. He was aware, he added, that the view of the rulers had been distorted by the stress and anxieties of the times, which made it difficult to put even the most straightforward problem in its right perspective. It was for this reason that he had not communicated his thoughts publicly. He promised that for every copy that could be found circulating in India he would personally pay 1,000 rupees. At first, Beaton was not convinced and asked Sir Syed over and over again if he was sure that no other copy had been distributed in India. Sir Syed reassured him on this matter, and Beaton never mentioned it again. Later he became one of Sir Syed's strongest supporters. Many official translations were made of the Urdu text of the causes of the Indian Revolt. The one undertaken by the India Office formed the subject of many discussions and debates. The pamphlet was also translated by the Government of India and several members of Parliament, but no version was offered to the public. A translation which had been started by a government official was finished by Sir Syed's great friend, Colonel G.F.I. Graham, and finally published in 1873. Influence of Mirza Ghalib. In 1855, he finished his scholarly, well-researched and illustrated edition of Abul Fazl's Ayn-e-Akbari, itself an extraordinarily difficult book. Having finished the work to his satisfaction, and believing that Mirza Asadullah Khan Ghalib was a person who would appreciate his labors, Sayyid Ahmad approached the great Ghalib to write a Taqriz, in the convention of the times, a laudatory foreword, for it. Ghalib obliged. But what he did produce was a short Persian poem castigating the Ayn-e-Akbari, and by implication, the imperial, sumptuous, literate and learned Mughal culture of which it was a product. The least that could be said against it was that the book had little value even as an antique document. Ghalib practically reprimanded Sayyid Ahmad Khan for wasting his talents and time on dead things. Worse, he praised sky-high the Sahibs of England, who at that time held all the keys to all the ayns in this world. The poem was unexpected, but it came at the time when Sayyid Ahmad Khan's thought and feelings themselves were inclining toward change. Ghalib seemed to be acutely aware of a European-sponsored change in world polity, especially Indian polity. Sayyid Ahmad might well have been piqued at Ghalib's admonitions, but he would also have realized that Ghalib's reading of the situation, though not nuanced enough, was basically accurate. Sayyid Ahmad Khan may also have felt that he, being better informed about the English and the outside world, should have himself seen the change that now seemed to be just round the corner. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan never again wrote a word in praise of the Ayn-e-Akbari and in fact gave up taking an active interest in history and archaeology. He did edit another 2 historical texts over the next few years, but neither of them was anything like the Ayn, a vast and triumphalist document on the governance of Akbar. Scholarly works. While continuing to work as a junior clerk, Sir Syed began focusing on writing, from the age of 23, in 1840, on various subjects, from mechanics to educational issues, mainly in Urdu, where he wrote, at least, 6,000 pages. His career as an author began when he published a series of treatises in Urdu on religious subjects in 1842. He published the book Asar as-Sanadid, The Remnants of Ancient Heroes, documenting antiquities of Delhi dating from the medieval era. This work earned him the reputation of a cultured scholar. In 1842, he completed the Jilla ul-Kulab bi Zikr il-Mabub and the Tufa-i-Hasan, along with the Tasil-fi Jar-i-Sakal in 1844. These works focused on religious and cultural subjects. In 1852, he published the 2 works Namika Dar Bayan Masala Tasawwur-i-Shaykh and Silsilat ul-Mulk. He released the 2nd edition of Ansar as-Sanadid in 1854. He also started work on a commentary on the Bible, the first by a Muslim, in which he argued that Islam was the closest religion to Christianity, with a common lineage from Abrahamic religions. He began with Genesis and Matthew, the first books of the Old and New Testament, but quit his project before even completing those first 2. His other writings such as Loyal Mohammedans of India, Tabian ul-Kalam and a series of essays on the life of Muhammad and subjects subsidiary therein helped to create cordial relations between the British authorities and the Muslim community. He was also a reader of Darwin and, while not agreeing with all of his ideas, he could be described as a sort of theistic evolutionist like his contemporary Asa Gray, and one of the first in the Islamic world, finding the arguments supporting such view through his own scientific research but also quoting earlier Islamic scholars like Al-Jahiz, Ibn Khaldun and Shah Walula. Hope you like this video. Please like and share this video and subscribe our channel for more informative videos. Thanks for watching.